Every day that I see a Myron story on YouTube or a X post on Twitter, formerly Twitter, X, it's like a circus. Myron Gaines' whole social media profile is like a circus. You don't know what you're gonna get any day of the week, but you do know it's gonna always be chaos. Post after post after post, you don't know whether you should laugh or cry, which really shows to me that Myron is mentally incompetent. He's not on X to make any real progress in what he's trying to do. It just seems like he's there to even cause problems, even with those who are supportive of him. And we'll get to that in a minute. Rewind! We all know that Myron has spent a lot of time really discussing blacks and Israel's or making homophobic comments against gays. But let's stick with the blacks for a minute.
I hate a lot because I criticize the black community for a lot of their faults. They, prioritize a bunch of stupid shit, and then they, instead of like attacking my arguments, they tell me, well, you're not even black, so you can't comment on this. So I'm like, what kind of low IQ logic is that? So you're telling me that I can't criticize something because I'm not of that community? That's retarded. That's like saying, oh, you can't say 1 + 1 is 2 because you're not a mathematician.
You see, Myron is from Sudan, as you know. And, I live in Africa, and people are tolerant of blacks having discussions about other parts of the diaspora. We don't necessarily like it, but we can do it, especially if people feel that you have contributed to the culture. For an example, Louis Farrakhan is a Caribbean, but he speaks on the issues of African Americans, and because of his work and lifetime work in our community, we wouldn't be upset if Louis Farrakhan were to say something, let me say, negative about our community, simply because we feel that he has our best interest at heart. But when it's somebody like Myron and he talks about your community, you don't feel like he does have that best interest at heart. However, if he was contributing to the growth of the African American community, we probably wouldn't find it offensive at all. But that's different with white people. White people are very interesting. When they have you as a black person speaking down on other communities, they love you. They really appreciate it, and they like you a lot. Similar to what we heard in that post, they praise you for talking the truths about the black community. Now notice, white people typically don't get on podcasts and talk down on blacks. They typically have other blacks come on their podcast or have people like Candace Owens say all of the negative things that whites can't say, because that would be called racism. And white people understand that. So if they bring black people onto a podcast that talk down on, let's say, Africa or #FBA, they can get away with it because they can say, listen, wasn't me who said it, that was them, and I'm just simply agreeing to what they are saying. I'm not racist. But the minute though a black person, that same black person, says something negative about whites, they come out to destroy that individual. And Myron just found that out the other day. Now, this particular joke, in my honest opinion, was stereotypes about all groups, and I don't think that Myron was calling out white people in general. He was just calling out some stereotypes on Twitter to say, like, hey, which one is the worst? Pretty much not saying that any of these are true, but hey, let's look at this. 10 uncomfortable stereotypes all of you secretly agree with me in. Comment which stereotype number hit you the hardest below. More than 3 black men together means crime is afoot. Okay. Black women are BBWs. They speak loud and they wear wigs and weaves and sandals. Well, that wigs is there. Untouchables are cheap and they say anti-crematism for anything. White women have 0 unique traits. White men have 0 R. Indians smell a certain way and worship cows. Women have nothing to offer outside of booty clapping sounds. Every person from Italy knows someone or is related to somebody in the mafia before realizing that they were in the mafia the whole time too. Arabs are rich simps that oddly understand how bombs work since birth. People from Asia have a hard time driving. Now this got 4.3 million views. All right. Now Myron was just saying anything to get recognized, but the kickback from this was incredible. What white folks did after that, we'll get into. Now remember, none of these screenshots that I'm talking about, they had no problem with number 1 and 2, which had everything to do with blacks. They didn't care about 9 and 10, which has something to do with Asians, and 6, as India is in Middle Asia, right? They didn't have any problems with any of that. But once he said white, oh my God! Now, this guy, Groy Politiano, now again, those guys who are in the Groypers group are in the alt-lice, right? He responded to Myron and said this: anger music! White men invented aura. John Gotti, Trump, Quickler. You guys know the guy from Germany? JFK, Al Capone, Elon, just to name a few. Sam Glover, a white guy, goes, slow immigrant jig. White men have zero aura. Meanwhile, and he's showing a picture of Adolf, okay? He then responds with this: Myron, shit, we out here being edgy, man. We pushing boundaries, provocative, and all that ish. Myron, make America great again. Basically, he's talking about that Myron is out here being edgy, talking all this trash about white people, but look at him, looking like a stereotypical you-know-what N-word with the Make America Great Again hat on, basically being a clown, a footstool for Zaddy. Cesare Borgia says this: I'd be jealous of white people if I were you too. Can I get a ooh sound effect? John Trey Left Political Queen says, you are the people from Sudan, let's say that, okay? Stereotype, you are abusive, violent, and love conflict. Engaging in conflict for attention is a very feminine trait. No wonder your parents moved to the States. Homosexuality is illegal in Sudan. Can I get a ooh sound effect? They didn't want your ass beaten and jailed. Now, this is a white lady saying this about Myron, okay? Now, Vivid, the guy from Israel, he goes this: the fact that the top like comments on your post is from people adoring hit-ler just shows who your audience is. Spare me the I'm not responsible for what they say BS. You're a brainwashed little man and your hatred of untouchables is on full display. Brian Stevens says, you say all this on the white man's internet? Brandon goes, anger music! Never forget that this is the real enemy. White women have zero unique traits. White men have zero aura. Myron Poopstains is hands down the most bitter loser on Twitter.com. They can't help to reveal their hatred for whites. Now it's interesting because even Sneeko decided to get involved with this. Now Sneeko is Myron's little booty clapping best friend, I guess. And he even gets in here as a person that talks down on the black community. He's trying to throw his shots at white people too. White jig is so busy bragging about their ancestors conquered the world, they let Taylor Swift and black people conquer their women. Then Gavin Newsom Groyper says, shut up, B. And then if you see what they put underneath the thing, we'll just blur that out, but let's just say it was 6 words. But it gets worse. Myron himself was kicked out of an all-white Twitter space.
Don't read him nothing, HT. Tell that to go find it himself.
Well, yes, sir. Listen, let's just stick with the Americans for now.
And then we got this naturalization. Like, bro, or you're with the standard guy. Yo, you're British, right?
Bro,
you don't know your. You don't know your. You don't know your.
Yeah.
Hey, Myron, you're in a hostile
and I'm not
area,
scared
bro.
to have conversation with you guys because I'm not.
Okay, well,
so you're gonna have to either kick me out or whatever.
You're not gonna have a conversation with him. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, this dude's so whatever. British guy, like, dude, I know you're mad about 1776.
Black men are like most likely to other black men. You black cunt.
He's not British. He's not British.
Kick this.
That's the first mistake you made. He's not British.
Like, I give a f about you. Stupid followers.
Oh, yeah. I told you he wasn't gonna have a conversation, bro. You just should have bought your time.
One question. You guys couldn't keep your mouth shut. Forget one question.
What was it?
I wanted to ask him about his boats and hoes. He runs party yachts for incel men. You guys got to come correct with some thoughtful questions.
All right. I'll let him back up here. But only radio gets to
I'm
talk,
sorry,
right?
sir. It's a white space. We know that.
I know.
They're the rules. No need.
Again, the speaker is saying, hey, I want to bring Myron back. He says, listen, this is an all-white space. Again, I want to keep telling you guys this, that secretly Myron hates everybody. He hates himself. So he's no use for any of these guys. And those people who don't like blacks understand that they have no real use for them long term because they can't trust them. Because anybody who will turn on their own community or own diaspora will turn on anybody else, will turn on them. And that's what Myron is doing. Myron is just self-destructive at this point. He wants to be white and he understands he can't, so now he's frustrated with them too. But here's something that we're just going to continue to have to understand, guys. And that is this. You are so much better with your own group, your own community. I can't thank you guys for the opportunity that I have to serve you guys every day making content. A lot of people's lives have changed. Stop the show. Even Dima, who's editing this video from Russia. Give him a round of applause. But if it wasn't for you, we couldn't be in this business. If it wasn't for our community that has really given us the opportunity to shine and do some great things, hey, I don't know where I would be right now. I'll be doing something else. But that's what happens when you work with your community. You can always reinvest into your people and you don't have to sell out like these guys, and they're gonna ultimately be out there lonely. Remember what happened to Donovan Sharp? Yeah, remember what happened to all those other guys that booty clap for Zaddy? They don't have anything now, but that's what they get. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.